Less than a year ago, I set out to build a dovetail cabin. In the spring, I gathered boulders for the foundation and cut them level. In the summer, I felled some cedars and milled them square. After laying the sills, it was autumn, and I had just enough time to install the first 3 courses of logs before the snow arrived. Then, I tucked the cabin in for winter and left it to hibernate till spring. In the meantime, I built a tiny home on skis and towed it to the maple bush with my snowcat. There I stayed with my family, harvesting firewood and making maple syrup. But I digress. Spring has returned, and it was time to wake up the cabin for a new season of building. As beautiful as the cabin looked so far, my first job was to dismantle it. You heard me right. You see, when assembling these logs, I made a mistake. One that I wanted to correct before continuing on with the build. Last year, late in the season, I realized that I'd forgotten to add a drip edge to the underside of the logs. Although drip edges are simple in nature, they're incredibly effective at preventing water from wicking underneath the logs and into the seams. Taking apart last year's work seemed like a step backwards, but it was worth it. Better to fix a small mistake now than deal with a much bigger problem down the road. Besides, I knew I could pull these logs apart, cut the drip edges, and have them back together by lunch. No big deal. There, with the drip edges in and logs back together, it's only up from here. My next job was to transport the remaining 50 logs to the build site. The only problem was that I had to move them over 25 kilometers to get them here, over terrain that grew progressively more challenging. Luckily, the old Massey was up to the task. Actually, I was more worried about the trailer. But as long as the axle didn't get ripped out, we'd be just fine. It took the better part of a week to transport all the logs to the build site. 5,500 pounds of cedar in total. During these early spring days, the landscape is still half asleep. Yet, if you look closer, past the bare branches, life always finds a way. I did 2 round trips with a big trailer until the trail became too rocky for its low ground clearance to safely handle. At which point, I split the load a second time, making up the last leg of the journey a total of 4 times with a smaller trailer and higher ground clearance. I stacked half the logs at the build site and stored the rest up at the main cabin. With a dovetail cabin primed and ready for build season, let's head back to the maple stand with my family. This year, we tapped 5 trees and collected 15 gallons of sap over 2